Hello everybody. Right, so this has been a long time coming. The rig's been running now for what, 2 months or so? I had zero issues with the oDrives now. Once we've got the firmware sorted out, it was an absolute pig nightmare, absolute joke. But with the help of Robson Swiss from Insectatech, you want to check his uh, some motion simulators out if you want to buy a retail one, because they are unbelievable. I'll put a link in the details for the Dragonfly. But if you're a tight ass like me and want to build your own, then I will try and attempt to show you what I did. I will sort my 3D printed files out soon and update the shopping list over on the X Simulator forums. But for now, you should be able to see where I am here. Let's just close these because I had to change OBS's settings so I could actually record my other monitors through the integrated GPU. So, first of all, if you've bought your oDrives and you're going to go and set them up, just go to oDriveRobotics.com. Not that anyone's going to be getting any time soon, but hey, if you've already got them and waiting to set them up, right, go to Docs, and everything you are going to need is pretty much on here, or links to it. So download and installing tools. I don't think I'm going to go through how to wire it up. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just connect the 3 wires from the motor to the 3 ports on the oDrive, and obviously your resistor, your brake resistor. I've actually upgraded mine, which I will update. I've now got some 100 watt 0.5 ohm brake resistors, rather than the little things that come with the oDrive, because they're just nowhere near good enough for the amount of back voltage, brake voltage. So yeah, right. So what I have installed is Anaconda, which is pretty easy to install. So I'll just install the latest one. It's quite a big download. Get that installed. And obviously Zadig utility, Zadig. I'm not going to go through everything. If you follow the instructions on here first to actually install Anaconda and install oDrive tool. It's all listed here. It's all really easy to follow. I don't think I need to go through that. I hope I don't, because I can't be asked. But yeah, it's easy. Once you installed Anaconda, you launch Anaconda. Anaconda prompt. Which then, oops, it's gone to another screen. That just brings you up a command prompt. This is the fun with the oDrive, because it's all command prompt stuff. There is a nice little GUI, well, but it's out of date, and half the options aren't on it that you need. And I'm not a programming whiz kid to actually make a new GUI. someone else would make one, it'd be awesome. But because they're not that mainstream, there's not that many people using them for motion simulators. So what you do, you launch this. When you do install it, I would create a folder in your root of C, which would be tools, just a folder. So when you go into here, all you have to do is cd, C, and it's the tools, and then I've got all my stuff in there. I will post the firmware which I have, the latest one which works. So once you've installed oDrive tools, which is there, obviously plug in your oDrive and then follow the instructions with Zadig utility to set the driver to the correct one. Which, where's it at? I may as well open it. I've got it somewhere. Duh. Oh, where I put it? I can't remember where I put it. Downloads. Right. So this is Zadig utility. So you would list all devices, and then it will come up with your oDrive. So obviously I'll have 3. And then you would change that to the correct driver, which is the libUSB Win32. And then all that does is make sure that when you type in here, oDrive tool, it doesn't work because I've forgotten what I'm supposed to put in there. Why is that not working? But it has worked. It's come up with some errors, but it's not worked. I don't know. Whatever. If it comes up with errors, ignore them. That's just Anaconda being whatever it is. But yeah, there you go. I've got one oDrive connected, and each one will connect. They're quite slow at connecting, so you do have to give it a bit of time. But it'd be handy for you to write each serial down for each oDrive, so you know which one you're communicating with and changing settings with. So what you would do is you would copy the firmware into your root tools folder, and then you can flash it with the firmware which I've forgotten what to do because it's been that long. But you don't go into oDrive tool to flash the firmware. God, this is going to be the worst tutorial ever. So, firmware. forgotten how to flash because it's been that long. Ugh. Ah, that's it, yeah. Oh, God. Right, so if you've got your oDrive connected, only connect one oDrive at a time when you're going to flash it. And you would oDrive tool DFU. Then you would put C dash tools dash whatever the firmware may be called. And in my case, the firmware, I will have to remember which one I actually flashed with. Which I can't remember. It was that one. I put it, the link somewhere. But yeah, new firmware. .x. And then you just do that, and then it's run through it. Obviously, it's not going to find that because there's no such firmware in that folder. So then when she flashed it, I'll exit that. If I can, yeah, you see, same version as firmware is on your device. No, because I don't want to. You just say yes and yes. And then once you've done that, we will open up a program which I have here, which is the oDrive GUI master. So we'll run the main Python file, which brings up another screen, command prompt, which is searching for an oDrive. Whatever you do, don't have this connected when you try to run the GUI tool, because it won't work. So if you flash it with the firmware, which I'll upload, don't connect any motors or anything just yet, because you want to make sure that you set everything correctly in here. So once you've done that, sorry, got a cough, getting over a cold still. No, not coronavirus. So this tells you all the information. My voltage, I was running at 42 volts, but it was too high. I kept the brake voltage was just too much. It was shutting down the oDrives, even with the big brake resistors on. So yeah, so that's the information for the oDrive. Then you have your axis. You have axis 0, axis 1. So if you press get on each time that you go on something, so what you'll want to do is change stuff to true which will be startup motor calibration. You will want that set to true. Startup encoder search, index search. You always want that true. Well, not always. Startup encoder offset true, and start up closed loop control set to true. So once they're set, don't press save yet. You'd go to axis 1 and you'd set them all to true as well. Motor config pre-calibrated will be false. Controller don't need to change anything in this. I will upload a generic, well, not a generic, but my config file, which you should be able to use oDrive tool to upload. But yeah, right, encoder that will be set to false. Use index will be pre-calibrated will be false. I have to calibrate the encoder offset every time, because if you haven't shielded the hell out of your encoder wire, it just flips out all the time. Misses a count, it can't remember where it is. So I always have it set to just do the calibration for the encoder offset, so it knows exactly where it is every time the system starts. It basically goes up about 10 mil and then goes down 10 mil, finds the offset, and it knows exactly where the actuator is. So for your first time though, you will need to have startup motor calibration true, and motor pre-calibrated will be false, and then you'd have to go back into access 1 and do that again and put that, you go get as true, and then you put it false. So once you've set that, then you can connect your motors and boot it up. And then if I close that and open it again, once it finds it, sorry, I'm really terrible at doing tutorials, especially if I've forgotten what to do myself. And now there's a million different other options that when you're in the oDrive tool that you can change in the firmware, which is just way too complicated for me to even try and explain, because I don't even understand half of it myself. So there we go. Once you've turned your oDrives on with both motors connected and encoders, what you will do then is you will set startup motor calibration to false, and you will set encoder, controller, motor config pre-calibrated to true, and you will set that to true. Why is it not doing it? So you have to set that to true, pre-calibrated encoder, and then if you go to the motor, set that to true. That will set to true. Then go back to the encoder and set that to false, unless you have shielded the hell out of your encoders. Now, if you're just using a normal cable like I am, you will have to pre-calibrate, well, calibrate the encoders every time. So you will have to do that with both. So motor is false because it won't go to true until you go to encoder, set pre-calibrated true, motor pre-calibrated, oh, true, and go back to encoder, false. This is only if you've got unshielded encoder cables. If you've got really good shielded encoder cables, you should be able to turn the offset calibration, because it should always know where the encoder is from when it starts up. However, it doesn't work for me anyway, and for it to just do the offset calibration each time, it just stops a hell of a lot of hassle. As long as your rig has got the power, or the power of the weight, just to travel to the bottom of the actuator range, which mine does, it hits the dead end stop because of the weight. So once you've done that, you press save and power up. Obviously, I can't remember you need to install anything else for the GUI. I can't remember. I don't think so. I'll probably put it in a Dropbox, and then people don't have to use coins and stuff on the X Simulator. But I think that is pretty much it for what I need to use for my setup. If you're using different motors, different encoders, I don't know, you'll have to figure it out yourself. But so if I go into oDrive tool, right, there is all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so mine is set to 18-bit, and you'll have to work out your travel limits. For mine at 450, I have it set to somewhere. There's all sorts of different things that you can find in the firmware. I know I'm going to get a million questions about this, but if I upload my firmware, upload my config, you should be able to do it. Let's try to find out what my... But basically in the oDrive tool, if you just type in oDrive, the Axis one, and it will give you all the values for all the different options that you can change. But I think mine is a pretty decent base, and you shouldn't have to change anything really straight off the bat. Sorry. manage different axes, because obviously there's options for each axis. And then you see, I think I've got two. Yeah, they're all the same. But you want to find, oops, the different values for axis 0, obviously encoder, and then that will bring up all your encoder values. So if you're using the AMT encoder like me, you have to set it to 7824 counts. But you won't have to if you use my configuration file. Like I say, it should work. It should be fine. I think I could actually turn my current limit up. It's only 25. Although, oh no, I don't think it's actually in there. I think it's in a different place. Yeah, just ignore that current limit because it's not actually that. So what you want to do is install Anaconda. Once you installed Anaconda, install oDrive tool, which is a PIP. Install oDrive, which will then connect and install the Saitek utility, and then once you've got that installed, like I say, this is going to be oDrive tool, DFU, C, tools, and your firmware, whatever you call it. Once you've flashed it, open up the GUI, turn the motor calibration on, save it, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. What else was there I was going to show? Yes, FlyPT. Okay. Open FlyPT. And this is mine for iRacing. You want to, for an output serial, add output serial, and then you open up that, and they are the values you need for connecting to the oDrives. Don't have to use COM 1, 2 and 3, I do, just to keep it nice and simple. But these are the important values, what we've got here. They need to be exactly the same. Now I'll upload a config file for Mover as well, and at least you will have this info. So hopefully you'll be able to read it. Yeah, I don't think I need to know anything on here really. Yeah, for the oDrive, this is really important for the soft start. You have to put minus 99999 in each one of these for some reason. It's just an oDrive thing. Like I say, I'll save this somewhere and share it. So I've skipped a million bits there because I just don't want you to go through what I had to go through with changing absolutely just about everything and anything to try and get the freaking things working. Now the main problem was for me was the encoder cables, but having it calibrate the offset each time, it's just been perfect ever since. Now if you have shielded it, there is a option in there which is called dead stop calibrate. So it will start up, and if your rig is not at the bottom of the actuator, it will slowly move the rig down, and as soon as it hits a dead stop, it'll hit the dead stop, it'll wait for 1 or 2 seconds and then release and move up a little bit. So it will know exactly where it is each time it starts up. But for me that was an issue because it just wasn't finding the encoder position. What else is there? I thought it was going to be harder than that, but as long as you flash my firmware, follow what I've said, it should be pretty easy, I hope. And if not, you'll just have to give me a shout. Hit me up on xsimulator.net or hit me up on Discord. I'm quicker to reply on Discord. But yeah, that's that. What else was I going to do? Let's have a look at. Yeah, I'll leave that. I'll record another video for the STL files and the shopping list. Okay, thank you very much, and I shall see you all later. Bye bye.